Welcome to the Razors Inc. podcast with your host, Jonathan Farini. On a recent edition of this podcast, Jonathan asserted that the 70s produced some of the best movies of any decade. And it was at this time when political paranoia, historical trauma, and the thriller genre all converged with unusual force, bound together by the idea that the crimes of the Nazi era did not end in 1945, but lingered, and dangerously close to everyday life. So pour yourself a drink, pull up a chair, and hear Jonathan's take on movies, television, and today. What happens when the movies force us to confront the possibility that the past is not the past at all? Here's your host, Jonathan Farini.
As I watch news reports from around the world, and I'm reminded by the saying, those who don't know history are condemned to repeat it, brings me to the subject of this podcast, which includes 3 movies about Nazis on the run, which reveal important themes as relevant today as when the 3 movies were released in the 70s. All 3 films, The Odessa File, 1974, The Boys from Brazil, 1978, and Marathon Man, 1976, explore Nazi crimes and the pursuit of justice or survival in the decades following World War II. Each film approaches the theme of Nazis on the run with distinct narrative styles, differing protagonists, but the same moral questions. In The Odessa File, Jon Voight stars as an investigative reporter who, 5 years after his breakout role in Midnight Cowboy, poses as a former SS officer to infiltrate the secretive Odessa organization.
I need 2 more weeks. He's not ready.
We don't have any more time. He's ready.
But David... May I come in?
Ah, here's our new man. How does it feel?
Frightening.
Well, this is it.
Prost.
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 So now, here's some money, driving license, and the watch you asked for. This is a letter written by your employer Eberhard at the bakery on his own stationery. He's away on holiday for 3 weeks and they can't contact him. So, that's what you've got. 3 weeks.
It's a network helping former Nazis evade justice. The film stands out for its journalistic approach, focusing on uncovering hidden truths and the personal risks involved in seeking justice by our protagonist. He's driven by a sense of duty and moral outrage about the killing of his Nazi father by the antagonist, an SS commander of a concentration camp, and the story unfolds as a tense thriller rooted in historical reality.
Riga. I'm talking about Riga, where you were responsible for the murder of 80,000 men, women, and children, Herr Commandant.
You mind if I smoke? There were never 80,000 disposed of at Riga. Not even 70,000.
70,000. 60,000. Does it really matter how many you killed? Move away from there.
That's exactly the point. It doesn't matter. Not now, not then. Look, young man, I don't know why you've come after me, but I can guess. Someone has been filling your head with a lot of sentimental claptrap about so-called war crimes and such. That's all nonsense. Absolute nonsense. A soldier is given his orders, he obeys those orders. He doesn't ask whether they are right or wrong. You know that as well as I do. All I did was to obey my orders.
Don't compare yourself with a soldier. You are an executioner. To put it more plainly, a mass murderer, a butcher.
Don't call me a butcher!
Don't compare yourself with a soldier.
How dare you call me a butcher? I was a soldier.
The Boys from Brazil takes a more speculative and sensational approach. Gregory Peck and Laurence Olivier play adversaries in a plot involving Nazi doctor Joseph Mengele's attempt to clone Hitler and resurrect the Third Reich.
I thought I told you to leave.
Well, I didn't, Mr. Lieberman, but I think you're going to be glad I didn't. Dr. Joseph Mengele was here tonight.
You mean to tell me you call me at 3 o'clock in the morning to tell me Dr. Joseph Mengele is in Paraguay? I know that, Mr. Kohler. So does my sister. So does my landlord and my tailor. And now you know it too. My congratulations.
He came to a meeting at Gunther's house tonight. And the others were there too. Mengele's sending them out to kill 94 65-year-old men in the next 2.5 years.
What are you talking about?
The film's less about historical accuracy and more about the dangers of fanaticism and the ethical dilemmas of science gone awry. More later.
Now, Mengele would certainly know every social and environmental detail would have to be reproduced. Thus, if the parents were divorced when the boy was 10, this would have to be arranged.
Dr. Büchner, the one who is cloned, the donor, he has to be alive, doesn't he?
Not necessarily. Individual cells taken from a donor can be preserved indefinitely. With a sample of Mozart's blood and a woman, someone with the skill and the equipment could breed a few hundred baby Mozarts.
Marathon Man's a psychological thriller starring Dustin Hoffman as an unwitting graduate student caught in a web of intrigue involving a Nazi war criminal, played by Laurence Olivier.
Is it safe? Yes, it's safe. It's very safe. It's so safe you wouldn't believe it. Is it safe? No, it's not safe. It's very dangerous. Be careful.
That hurt? Uh-huh. No, I should think it would. You should take better care of your teeth. You have quite a cavity here. Is it safe?
Look, I tell you, I can't do it.
The film is less about organized Nazi networks and more about personal survival, paranoia, and the trauma of history resurfacing in unexpected ways for our young graduate student. All three films were released about 30 years after World War II, a period when the world was still grappling with the aftermath of the Holocaust and the reality that many Nazi war criminals had escaped justice. The anxiety that evil could persist, hidden in plain sight or plotting a return, is central to these stories. You know, the films reflect a collective trauma, especially amongst Holocaust survivors and their families, about the possibility of history repeating itself, and likely for those soldiers who fought in World War II and their families. The Boys from Brazil specifically channels a post-war anxiety about the misuse of science here, cloning and genetic engineering to serve evil ends. This reflects broader fears in the late 20th century and today about technological advances outpacing ethical considerations. Think about AI and the advances in cloning organs. After all, the film was about cloning Hitler and resurrecting the Third Reich.
First, there are some things about yourself you must know.
What do you mean?
If I prove to you that I know you better than anyone in the world, better even than your own mother, will you listen to me? You are a clever boy, are you not? You do not do well in school. That is because you are too clever, too busy thinking your own thoughts, but you are much smarter than your teachers, huh?
My teachers are nowhere.
You are going to be the world's greatest photographer, are you not? Have you ever felt superior to those around you, like a prince among peasants?
I feel different from everyone sometimes.
You are infinitely different, infinitely superior. You were born of the noblest blood in the world. You have it within you to fulfill ambitions 1,000 times greater than those of which you presently dream. And you shall fulfill them, Bobby. You shall. You are the living duplicate of the greatest man in history.
Marathon Man embodies the anxiety that history is not just the domain of politicians and soldiers, but can interrupt the lives of ordinary people, like our graduate student, dragging them into danger and moral crisis without warning. How many shooting incidents do we hear about in a given year, month, or week? How many innocent victims at the wrong place and wrong time? Let's take a deeper dive and connect the three films to current events. The rise of far-right movements and extremist ideologies in Europe and the U.S. shows that hate and authoritarianism remain relevant. Recent elections in Germany and Austria highlight how historical memory and unresolved guilt about Nazism can fuel the success of far-right parties. Globally, revisionist memory politics and the spread of hate speech and xenophobia are on the rise, but today, sadly, very much in the open in the streets and social media, on both sides of the aisles, so to speak.
Don't you tell me, long summer, you kraut meathead. Long summer, long summer. You Limburger-loving schmuck. Mock smell. Gate cock and effing yum. Gehen zum Teufel. Jude. You, alter Jude. Why, you Nazi bastard. Kein Wunder, Hitler wollte das Nazi, Nazi. Schade, dass Sie nicht ja. Geh, leck mich am Arsch. Scheiß an deinen alten Chevrolet.
Social media amplifies distrust and enables conspiracy beliefs to proliferate, and is a major source of anxiety and alienation. Ethical dilemmas in science and technology fuel the persistence of hate. There's an AI bias, genetic editing, surveillance. These are all front-page issues today. There are debates about the regulation and moral boundaries of new technologies, which are echoed in the anxieties dramatized in the films, as society struggles to balance progress with responsibility. Individuals today face anxiety from war, political instability, and economic uncertainty, news-related stress 24 hours a day, war-induced anxiety, and the psychological toll of constant exposure to global crises are widely documented, giving rise to nations and their citizens seeking scapegoats for their political and economic turmoil. Together, these films use suspense, conspiracy, and personal drama to explore that evil survives, that justice is fragile, and that the trauma of history can never be fully buried. They remind viewers of the importance of vigilance, memory, and moral courage in the face of lingering threats. I focused on 3 films about the hunt for Nazis, but you can substitute the Nazis inside these films with any flavor of hate mongers and violence, and that's why these 3 films deserve renewed attention and remain as relevant as ever. Watch them from the perspective of today's lens and draw your own conclusions. Until I see you next time, please leave behind a soft footprint, meet a Holocaust survivor, or attend a Holocaust museum. And remember, history repeats itself. Class is dismissed.
And so take note, the past is not safely buried. The names may be new, but it is active, organized, and capable of returning. These movies ask whether vigilance is the price of memory, and whether forgetting, as comforting as it may be, is itself a form of complicity. You've been listening to the Razors Inc. podcast with Jonathan Farini. Be sure to check out Jonathan's collection of fiction at jonathanfarini.com. Also, look for Jonathan's short story, The Line in the Lake, in which 2 strangers find themselves on opposite sides of an invisible line, which unexpectedly guides them to a fortuitous reunion. The Line in the Lake has just been published again, this time in the inaugural issue of Hearts of Thunder magazine. Find it at jonathanferrini.com. You'll find a link to Hearts of Thunder at jonathanferrini.com. You can also drop an email anytime to razorsincpodcast@gmail.com.